This is a presentation of the Sports Source Digital Network, presented by Hearthside Bank.
Welcome into the Sports Source Digital Network. John Pennington, joined by Tyler Ivens from 99.1 The Sports Animal, Jimmy Hyams from everywhere. He retired and now he's in more places than ever. Jimmy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Tyler, thank you as well.
Appreciate it as always.
I wanted to do something a little unusual. Wanted to provide people with some numbers they maybe haven't seen before. I know that we've all talked about, well, it doesn't seem like they're as good in the first quarter as they used to be. So I went through all of the first quarters in Josh Heupel's 4-year tenure here. I also, and we'll get to this in a second, I also went through every first drive of every game since Josh Heupel's been here, just to see. All right, occasionally we'll think something, and you look at the numbers like, no, you're wrong. It wasn't that bad. Oh, it's that bad. In terms of first quarter scoring for Tennessee, we'll put this on the screen for you right now. As you can see, 2021, his first year, Tennessee scored 190 points in first quarters that year, 14.6 points in the first quarter per game.
Led the nation.
2022, that dropped off to 141 points, but still 10.8 points per game. The next year, it's mainly Joe Milton at quarterback, and it drops down to 110 points, 8 points a game. And then last year with Nico, 102 points, 7.8 points a game. So it's gone from 14 to 10 to 8 to 7. And in the SEC, that number went from 14 in the first quarters to 9 to 4 points in the first quarter of games in 8 SEC games last year. Okay, that's not good. We spent the first couple of years of Josh Heupel's tenure talking about, my goodness, the way he scripts those first couple of drives, it's fantastic. We even discussed the fact that you better jump early because it tends to drop off afterwards. Mm-hmm. Now you're not using that first strike offense, if you will. Theories as to what's happened?
I think there's several things at work. One is defenses are probably catching up a little bit with the up-tempo. Secondly, I'm not sure that the game planning is quite as good. I don't know that the quarterback plays as good. This past year, there were 3 first halves where Tennessee didn't even score.
Yeah.
But I do remember this. I remember Dylan Sampson fumbling twice on opening drives, and I remember a drop pass on an opening drive. So they shot themselves in the foot a little bit, more so this past year than before.
Yeah.
But I do think just a big part of it is defense is probably catching up and maybe just not getting as good a quarterback play.
It dropped from year 1 to year 2, so Golesh was here for that. But I know everybody's immediate direction here is Golesh is gone. And that's where it went 14-10 under Golesh, 8-7 under Halzle.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go, at least with point 2. Point 2 is I think that there has been a significant step back because of the change kind of in the play calling. I understand Josh is your play caller, but in the booth, the move from Golesh, I think, to Halzle, there has been we're starting to see even more cracks in the foundation than we did before. To Jimmy's point, I think it simply comes down to this. When I first started hearing this and going back and watching the film, I thought that's not what it is. It's got to be something else I'm not seeing.
Right.
It's the tempo. It's the tempo. When you have, and it goes back to quarterback play. When Hendon Hooker's out there year 1 and he can get to the line of scrimmage in the red zone, in the goal line and turn and go, let's go, move, and you can push. I remember Nick Saban saying it one year, and maybe it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and he said if Josh Heupel could have it his way, he would spread every wide receiver out as far as he could to the sideline, to the next road outside of Neyland Stadium, and he would get to the line of scrimmage and he would run 3 plays a minute if he could. Spread out speed, the tempo. I think until Tennessee gets a quarterback, if it's Joey this year, if it's Faison Brandon, if it's Merklinger in 26, that can get to the line of scrimmage, know the play, read it, get going, move this offense, that's when we're going to see the first quarter numbers go through the roof. Until then, I think tempo is the key ingredient that's been missing from Tennessee's offense.
I think it's a big ingredient. I think, as we discussed on your radio show last time I was on there, you go back to some of their run game. Well, a lot of their big runs are because these guys can't get in the right slot by the time you snap it. You go back to the Alabama game in 2022, one of Hyatt's touchdowns, the cornerback, we went back and looked at it on the Sports Source the next day. The corner is talking to his coaches on the sideline.
He needs his assignment.
And Hyatt's right beside him. It's already been snapped, and he's here, and he's still looking. So not having that tempo does hurt. I wonder, and this is a topic that it'll be another video we'll put up here.
Yeah.
But I wonder how much of that is dictated by defenses. You have had the new offensive coordinator at Virginia Tech, Philip Montgomery, name escapes me at the moment. This is a guy who came from the Art Briles system, veer and shoot, and he came out recently and said, hey, it used to be we wanted to run 100 plays. If you run 100 plays, we know we're going to win. Now, because of some things defenses are doing, we would rather keep you off balance. You don't know if we're going tempo or not. So if they get a guy, will they go back to the 100-mile-an-hour tempo? We're going to learn real quick if this is just gobbledygook that a coach is saying, oh, no, defenses are catching up. That's why we're trying to use it differently. It's not constant. If they come back and go constant, we'll know that, no, you just didn't have the quarterbacks to do it. So let me talk to you about that. Let's go into the quarterback direction.
Okay.
And this is where I'll get into the first quarter drive. So let's take a look at these numbers, all right? Opening drives. In 2021, which was mainly Hendon Hooker, they averaged 6 plays, 38 yards, a first drive, but 8 touchdowns, no field goals. So 8 touchdowns in opening drives that year in 13 games. 2022, 5.8 plays, 49 yards drive, 8 touchdowns and a field goal. So basically the same thing. They were just really good on first downs or first drives. Joe Milton's year drops to only 4.5 plays. Yards, 55. It's your most yards. 9 touchdowns. That went up. Numbers might be skewed a little bit because you did have one 80-yard run that started a game for Joe Milton.
UTSA.
But here you've got this is if you just look at those drives, pretty good under Hooker, and Milton. Last year under Nico Iamaleava, 6 plays, 37 yards, only 4 first drive touchdowns all year. Which again, they went 3 halves without scoring. So you're going to have 3 first drives where you didn't score. But 4 touchdowns, all you got on first drives in 13 games last year. So this would point more directly toward Nico or your receivers or your offensive line that couldn't protect Nico last year. Because that is a pretty big drop from the first 3 years.
So the question about tempo, which I agree with, is why.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with the quarterback. I think that Hooker was better at identifying the defense quickly and making sure everybody was ready. I don't think Milton was quite as quick at that, which he acknowledged when he went to New England. And I don't think Nico was that good at it either. I think that was a part of it. I remember seeing Nico quite often looking around trying to figure out what the defense was doing while also looking at the sideline. I think with Hooker and the experience that he had in running it, I think that decision-making is what allowed them to go at a faster tempo with Hooker, and I think it slowed down with the other 2 quarterbacks.
I think Jimmy, again, I don't want to strip the screw here, but everything that Jimmy said, there were times last year Nico would go to the line of scrimmage, look at the defense, see something he didn't like, turn, and as soon as he was getting the change at the audible at the line of scrimmage would come back, and there would already be a different look. So there was a lot of cat and mouse that Nico, you could tell, wasn't comfortable with and bleeding the clock.
And because you're not up-tempo, defenses are able to give you more different looks
There you
too.
go.
If you're going up tempo, they're sitting there. They can't do that stuff. But I'm not. Part of that could be, well, Nico sucked. You didn't hear that from Tennessee fans until he left. When he was still coming back, people were like, "We're going to be good this year." Then he left. It's like, well, he stunk. So I think part of that, maybe we'll find out at UCLA he does stink. But I think part of that is also he was a first-year starter.
Yes.
Whereas Hendon Hooker was a veteran when he got it. Milton, I just don't think he's. I don't think he's as. I don't think he takes it as seriously as Hooker. I don't think he took the job of studying as much as seriously as Hooker did, from folks I've talked to. So I think that may been the drawback there. But Nico was the youngest of those 3. He was the least experienced of all those guys. So I think maybe that makes sense that he wasn't as good pre-snap. And that might be the issue. It could also be an accuracy thing. If you're inaccurate on first and second down, well, your drives aren't going to go very far. Whereas Hooker was very accurate. He was more accurate than the other 2 by far. So that allows you to keep those drives going. I wonder, is there anything else? We've talked about coaching. We've talked about defenses, perhaps. We've talked about the lack of tempo. We've talked about quarterback. Or is it probably all of the above?
I think it'd be all the above, and if you told me, okay, let's add one more thing to this, maybe it doesn't need extra salt, but sprinkle it in there. The wide receivers didn't really help Nico or this offense out last year as well. Squirrel had some crucial drops. There were a lot of players that were battling injuries out there. I mean, there are beautiful balls that we can keep talking about. Chris Brazzell in the basket catch, perfect throw against Alabama that led to the win. You didn't get too many of those highlight reel plays because of where the quarterback.
You had more drops than catches from Chris Brazzell like that.
Sure.
Now, maybe, I'm not saying he's done. Maybe he hasn't great turnaround this year. But last year, you expected X from him.
Yeah.
You didn't come close to it.
I feel like
So,
I'm throwing excuses. And Brew was hurt both back-to-back years.
Worldwide was hurt.
Never really came back from the South Carolina injury, or he was developing more hand injuries last year for Brew. I think it was kind of a hodgepodge of everything we've already highlighted last year with Nico. Nico, at times, was risk-averse and didn't want to take a lot of those cut-the-red-wire moments. But there were also multiple factors that were in there as well.
They didn't run him a lot either, which was one of those things. Until that Ohio State game when nothing else was working, it's like, hell, we don't have another game, just run. And he did pretty well.
He competed.
I mean, yes.
He really competed.
But
in
I mean,
that game.
I wonder in hindsight if they would have run him more last year. Might that have helped in terms of mixing in like designed quarterback runs? You had some for Milton because Milton didn't like to run. They kind of forced him to run. Hooker would run. Hooker liked to run. Hooker would take off. Nico, he stayed in that pocket quite a bit. And I just wonder in hindsight, would they have said, we should have had more design runs for this guy? Would that have helped things?
I thought that Tennessee would have more design runs and have him run more against the better teams because you can't hold back.
Yeah.
If you don't want to run him against Kent State or UTC or whatever, that's fine. But I thought in those bigger games, Georgia, Alabama, et cetera, Florida, you would see him run more because you needed to make sure that you kept the defense more honest.
You go back to his debut against Iowa. He ran it all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, he was much better running than throwing.
I think he ran for 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
in that
Again,
game.
coming to the line of scrimmage, he lined up those Iowa safeties and corners, just stretched them out, waited one guy miss, and then found the end zone.
The Milton wasn't a fit for the system. That's part of my opinion.
Joe, and there were times too, and even talking to Joe going after his time away, when talking to him at SEC Media Days, there were times where you could watch him and he would even break. Here's my favorite thing about Joe, and I'll just leave it at this. Joe was very honest when we sat down and had one-on-ones with him. Joe, do you not like running as much? Where are you at? He's just like, there's sometimes I have to ask myself right before I go into a slide, dang, do I had 3 more extra yards? And there was like clunkiness to the slide, and by that time he was already down. So there were times even Joe would say the processing and how fast the offense would go, he would even admit there were times I was a little hesitant on being able to make sure that every single fine-tuned point of the play was executed perfectly, and then it all jumbles together.
Let's play this forward a little bit then. One, do we expect the offense to get back in a early game rhythm this year with Joey Aguilar? I don't know how you can. The other part of that question is, how much will you run him? I keep having everybody tell me, he can extend plays. You know what I heard about Nico? He can extend plays. You know what they said about Milton? He can extend plays. Can and will are 2 different things. And also, I think, do you use designed runs with this guy? I think that is something that this offense has missed the last couple of years. I think it was better when Hooker was running all over the place. You don't have to. I mean, there are other quarterbacks who run. Bryce Petty was not a runner. RG3 was probably the best quarterback to ever run this system. A little bit of a runner. I think that may help, but I don't know if you'll be doing that with Joey Aguilar when you've got 2 guys behind him who aren't proven.
And
so
I don't think
limit you?
I don't think you can worry about that. I think you got to play to win. And if he gets hurt, and then you go to Merklinger or you go to McIntyre.
I agree, but they didn't seem to do that last year.
Well, maybe they learned.
Fair enough, maybe.
But I'll say this. From what I've been told about Aguilar, and I've talked to some people that watched him play, if it's 3rd and 5 and he's in a zone read, he'll keep it and get you 6 yards. So he is a willing runner, and in those positions, which I don't think the other quarterbacks necessarily wanted to do that. He's tough. I'm also told that he's really smart. If he is smart enough to pick up this system, then maybe you can get back to the up-tempo, and maybe he can read the defense right away, and then you don't have to wait and look at the sideline. How quick is he going to pick that up? It is his first year trying to do this, so it'll be interesting to see.
It's his first 3 months trying to do this.
That's what I was going to get to kind of, not that Jimmy needs somebody to kind of ride the coattails, 106 days. When we sat down with Josh and we were doing the lunch, and Josh said, look, he just got on campus a week ago Monday. He's been at my house nightly trying to get this offense down. So if I'm being the guy with the numbers, when he actually got, and I got it, video chats, he's been talking to the coaching staff. He had 106 days from feet on campus to Atlanta kicking off against Syracuse. Rapport with your offensive line, rapport with your wide receivers, the relationship building on top of learning this playbook, more and more and more and more. At least he's got all of his classes done from App State where this is his job. This is his focus. You got 106 days plus. How will it go against Syracuse, against ETSU? And, by the way, then Georgia opens up SEC play. It's going to be a tall order.
It's something Tennessee needs to get back to because I think that those first couple of years, and even that 3rd year under Milton, defenses feared you.
Yeah.
And coaches coached differently going against you.
Yes.
How many times did we see teams stupidly go for it on a fourth down because they're like, oh gosh, we're not going to get as many possessions.
Yep.
What's going to happen? We got to get on there. We can't let them get 2 possessions in a row. They're going to blow us out of here. So I think the idea of people fearing you, it's a tangible difference. It's an advantage. And I think they have to get back to that, have to get back to these early scores, or else you're just another offense.
Brian Kelly said that, essentially said that after the game, after Tennessee blew them out in the day game. Yeah, we fumbled the opening kickoff, but from there we knew the avalanche was coming. They were gambling with less than 10, 15% chance to be able to convert 4th and longs. Tennessee had them in a 21-0 hole, and LSU just waved the white flag.
Here's the thing also. What confounded Nick Saban the most when he was the head coach at Alabama?
Up-tempo offense?
Up-tempo offense. And Tennessee scored 52 on him. Ole Miss scored a lot of points on him, at least one year they did. That's problematic even for somebody as smart as Saban, who's a great defensive mind and a great defensive coach. If you can get back to that, if you can limit the defense from changing one look to the next while you're in the shotgun, that's a big advantage for you. So, I think they definitely need to get back to the up-tempo.
Not only does it keep them from giving you different pre-snap looks, it keeps them from refreshing their talent on the field. You're wearing guys out if you're going fast. But it's not just the speed. I mean, whatever they do, and I think it's the speed. I agree with you guys. But whatever they do, they've got to get back to master classing that first drive the way they did those first couple of years. We'll see if they have the ability to do that when eventually we're going to figure out if it's Golesh versus Halzle or if it's just a quarterback thing.
Well, you certainly want the defensive backs to be looking on the sideline when you're snapping the ball.
Yeah, it would help.
That helps.
That does it, yeah. That's a big advantage.
Jimmy Hyams, Tyler Ivens, thanks for coming in here. Folks, you can do us a favor. All you need to do is hit the thumbs up button. That tells people you like this video. It helps people find us. Click the notify, the little ring the bell button, as they say. Do that, and you'll know when we put stuff up. Subscribe to the channel. Don't cost nothing. It's free. And tell us what you think about this. What theory did you agree with? What theory do you disagree with? Did we miss one? What do you think happened with Tennessee in that first quarter, that first drive offense that was so good in Heupel's first 2 years? What's happened? Leave it in the comment section. Tell us what you think. We'll see you next time on the Sports Source Digital Network.